Welcome to my home. I've lived here for the last 30 years, and I'm happy to have you here. In fact, it's the day I've looked forward to have an interview with you. I'm your great admirer. Government formation is a process, and a coalition government is formed based on an agreement. I sat down with William Ruto and on behalf of the mountain people, negotiated our expectation from his government. And he negotiated the votes he wanted from our region. And he did negotiate with me that he wanted 70% of our votes. And in exchange, he would give us 40% of the government. It was not written, it was a gentleman's agreement. He sat down with the people of Western Kenya. They were wiser than me. They demanded an agreement. He demanded 70% of their vote. They demanded 30% of government. He sat with Kingi from the coast, and Kingi demanded certain things that will be done when government is formed. I was simply following the honoring of that agreement, that what was promised and what was agreed on must be honored. And I was saying, we made an agreement that we are investing in this government, and this is our expectation. And Yvonne, it is not that it is anything that I was coming out from the blue. It was an agreement that was negotiated, and I was insisting that that agreement should be honored. Other people are not insisting on the honoring of that agreement. I was under a lot of pressure from the people I negotiated on their behalf, that what we agreed on should be honored. And that is when William Ruto turned against me, because he didn't want to honor what we had agreed. And luckily for me, and it's a mistake that I made that I have to live with, I didn't insist on a written agreement. It was a gentleman's agreement. Nevertheless, even a verbal agreement in law is acceptable. Development, roads, coffee reforms, tea reforms, guaranteed minimum return. We did economic charters with President William Ruto, 4 counties in Kenya. And for the people that I represented, because he came to me because he wanted votes from my region. That is the truth. It was not that because he just loved me or he was my friend. It was quid pro quo. Give me this, I give you this. And he said, Riggy, I want 70% of votes from the mountain. Mm-hmm. Can you deliver that? I said, yes, I can deliver. And I delivered 87%. And I said, I expect the following. I negotiated ministries of interior, finance, agriculture, water, lands, attorney general, trade. I negotiated all those agreements. And where we started having problems is when he started taking away what we had negotiated. He took away finance. I had negotiated finance, he gave to Professor Ndungu. He took it away and gave it to Joe Mbadi. Senator James Rich is the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee in American Senate. Tabled a bill in the Senate asking that the status of Kenya as a non-NATO ally be reviewed in view of the following allegations. Relations with China, that is one. Number 2, relations with Iran. Number 3, government of Kenya and key officials of Kenya with non-state armed groups and violent extremist organizations, including the Rapid Support Forces and Al-Shabaab, participation in the Belt and Road Initiative, and then blocked persons and foreign terrorist organizations, including such individuals and entities based in southern Sudan and Somalia. Again, extrajudicial killings and abductions. I'm not the one who came with these allegations. So when these allegations came and they were in the headline, Kenya is under investigations in the Senate. This is a bill, I've given it to you. President William Ruto replied and said the Americans have a problem with him because he has opened bilateral trade with China, which is good for the country. And that is why the Americans want to review their relationship with Kenya. So when I went to the next meeting, I said, fine, you have answered about China. What about the other allegations? You are being investigated in the country for working with Al-Shabaab, for working with RSF from Sudan, for extrajudicial killings, for abductions. The Americans want to know why. It is alleged there was a meeting in Mandera. Can you please answer? It is not me who came with this allegation. This matter is before the Senate. On record, that President William Ruto has a working relationship with Hemeti, the leader of RSF. I have said that and I have evidence on his request.
Why would you do that?
Because diplomatically, a president cannot invite a deputy to come and visit him. And Hemeti at that time was the deputy president of Sudan. So William Ruto called me as deputy president and had a letter for me to sign to invite Hemeti. And I went to pick him at the airport and delivered him to William Ruto and sat through the discussion. William Ruto answered on the issue of China. He has a mouth. He can answer whether he met Al-Shabaab or he did not meet Al-Shabaab. We will not prejudice investigations by giving details of what we know. Even like RSF, I have said I have a lot of information that is available to those who are investigating. This matter is in the Senate of the United States. It's not an investigation in Kenya. And even when I was told I can talk about it in Kenya, I said the DCI has not launched an investigation in this matter. If they did, I would give what I know, but they have not. I am not going to volunteer information to an organization that is not investigating a matter. This matter is under investigation by the American Senate. You give information to an investigation that is ongoing. The Kenyan authorities are not investigating this matter, and they are not going to investigate it because they cannot investigate William Ruto. He is the appointing authority. So the matter is dead as far as Kenya is concerned. Luckily for us, the matter is under investigation in the American Senate. And I believe it will see the light of the day. The people of Mandera are very innocent, and they have nothing to do with these accusations. The accusations are against William Ruto, not the people of Mandera. The fact that the meeting is alleged to have taken place in Mandera does not make the people of Mandera party to any such meeting. And I have seen a concerted effort to try to draw a wedge between me and the people of Mandera and the people of northeastern Kenya. And let me take this opportunity to say that I have tremendous respect for that community. Those are very honorable people. And myself, I do business with people in the Somali community. And indeed, Yvonne, one day if you want to do business, the Somali people are very good people to do business with. Their word is like a banker's check. You don't even require a written agreement. I do business with them. Where I come from in the mountain, we live with the Somali people. In fact, in a place called Nyanyuki, that is Laikipia East constituency, the Kikuyu nation there elected a Somali as member of parliament when they are only 3% of the population. Here in Kamukoji in Nairobi, the Honorable Hassan has been elected by the Mount Kenya people for more than 3 times. We have a very good working relationship with the people of northeastern Kenya, and I don't want leaders who have an issue with me as they try to defend William Ruto to drag in the people of Mandera. Okay. The people of Mandera have nothing to do with this thing. Those are good people. In fact, they have borne the brunt of attacks for many years. And even as we speak today, half of Mandela is occupied by forces from Jubaland. And I would have expected these leaders over the weekend, the governor, the senator, the MPs, who are making a lot of noise about Riggy, to have defended the people of Mandera from the incursions by forces from Jubaland instead of castigating Rigathi Gachagua. So I wanted to clarify that the allegations we have made against William Ruto, he is not from Mandera, he is not Somali, he is not Muslim. Let nobody drag in the people of Mandera, the people of northeastern Kenya, from our issues with William Ruto. They should leave us alone with William Ruto to have our own war. Yeah.
All right.
Waswahili wanajuana na vilemba. But he has no moral authority at all, absolutely none, to talk about corruption in parliament, because he's the one who has corrupted parliament day in, day out. William Ruto pays Parliament for anything that he wants to happen. The finance bill, he paid members of Parliament 200,000 shillings. They passed the finance bill. They were in trouble from the public. And when things backfired, he turned around and threw them under the bus. My own impeachment, the one you are trying to take me through again here, although I underwent that impeachment, I didn't think it was necessary for us to go through it, had nothing to do with gross violation of the Constitution. It had nothing to do with issues that were raised there. Gladys Bose-Sholei told William Ruto in a public rally, you told us to get rid of Riggy, we did. You had it. Members of Parliament were paid 500,000. Members of the Senate were paid 10 million shillings each to impeach me by William Ruto. He is the one who has taught Parliament to be corrupt. In fact, there's nothing William Ruto does without paying money to people. He cannot now throw these MPs under the bus. And I told these MPs, I remember telling them, this man, I know him, I've been his deputy. He's an expert in use and dump. And the day you lose favor with the public because of following him blindly, he'll abandon you in high noon. What has happened, Yvonne, because I want to tell these members of Parliament and put them into perspective. To start with, William Ruto was complaining not about people being bribed with the 10 million. He seemed agitated that the 10 million bribe that was given did not reach the members. That's what appeared to be disturbing him. He didn't have a problem with the corruption per se. He seemed pained that somebody has paid 10 million and he was asking the members of Parliament, did you receive the money? And they were saying, no, we did not receive, which means he was confirming that him and members of Parliament have a working relationship. And he was trying to find out whether this bribe reached those people. What has happened, Yvonne, is that William Ruto is in every scandal in this country. And I believe we are going to discuss SHA, we are going to discuss all those issues. And he's in trouble internationally. When I was in America, nobody wants to hear about him. You remember there's an organization that gave him the second position in the world as the second corrupt leader in the world. And he is trying to shift focus from himself and throw it to the members of Parliament. He is actually throwing them under the bus to the people of Kenya. He's trying to say there's too much corruption so that people can remove the focus from William Ruto and take it to the members of Parliament. That is what he's trying to do. And I told these members of Parliament, the minute this guy realizes that you are of no use to him and you are expendable, he'll throw you under the bus. Number two, he said he is going to form a multi-agency to deal with corruption. To start with, that is wrong because we have independent institutions to deal with the corruption, EACC and the DPP. William Ruto cannot take over investigations because that is interfering with independent offices and is interfering with the constitutional commissions. But let me tell the members of Parliament and Senate what is happening. And they'll thank me one day. I know William Ruto like the back of my hand. I stayed with him. This is what is happening. Most of these senators and members of Parliament, except from Rift Valley, know that William Ruto is done his one term. And they know if they are in UDA, they will be sent packing. So they have been talking in bars, in social places, saying we are with Ruto to get what we can. Next year, we'll defect. They have been saying we are waiting for the last budget. Once we get our projects, we'll have to align with the people because if we go in UDA, we shall not be elected. William Ruto said he is a consumer of raw intelligence. He monitors all these MPs. You can ask me, I was his deputy. He has a file on each one of them. All this money he was bribing them, he has recordings. Ask me, I was his deputy. There is another senator who went to collect some money from some businessmen from Nakuru. I've even seen the video. You know, he has all these recordings for all these bribes, for all these things the MPs have been doing. William Ruto is a smart man. He knew one day these guys can shortchange him and they can abandon him. So he knows that next year there will be mass exodus. So this multi-agency team he has formed is to collect evidence and create files on all leaders in Kenya. And he'll call them one by one. I hear you want to leave UDA and go to DCP and go to Wiper. This is your file. Try. Next week you are in court. Same for governors, same for everybody. Why would William Ruto want to take over investigations? He said when he formed the government that he'll make sure the National Police Service is independent. He'll give it money. He'll make sure judiciary is independent. He'll make sure the DPP is independent. Today he is saying he wants to form a multi-agency team under the office of the president to deal with corruption. I can tell you, and I want to tell these members of parliament, you will have to stick with William Ruto to the end. You'll go home together, because the minute you try to move and abandon him, like it happened to Moi in the year 2002, he will have a file on all of you. So all those senators who took money during my impeachment, all those MPs who took money during my impeachment, all those MPs who took money for the finance bill, all those MPs who have been taking money from William Ruto and his cronies for various things in parliament, William Ruto has a file on each one of you, and none of you will be able to abandon him. For the money that you took, you have to stick with William Ruto up to the ballot. And you try, and you tell me, you have seen already, the EACC after William Ruto spoke. That is a script, you can see how good it is. The minute he spoke, the EACC said William Ruto has done that. That's done well. He says we are 4 governors now at the radar. And you see the governors at the radar. Kimani Wamatangi. Because he doesn't agree with the Kimani Ichung'wah in Kiambu. So they are using that file to coerce him politically. You know? And what will happen now, this multi-agency team, it has been outlawed by the court, but he still formed it. They are going to create files to enable William Ruto to deal with people like ourselves, who don't agree with him, and to hold all those leaders who are with him, who may want to abandon him and go to another political party.
All right. So
the intention was very noble. When we formed government, we had a manifesto, a great manifesto, bottom-up economic transformation agenda. You know, creating good business environment, lifting people from the bottom of the pyramid. We wanted a majority in parliament to help us push that agenda. Okay? Where I differed with William Ruto is when we abandoned our agenda, our manifesto. And he started pursuing personal agenda. The housing levy was not part of our agenda of forcing people to pay taxes to build houses.
All right.
You know?
I want us to come back and we will go step by step and talk about the affordable housing levy for just a moment.
Yes.
And you talk about seeking to have a majority in the House to push government's agenda.
Yes.
That's all well and good. The Speaker of the Senate and the Speaker of the National Assembly, their role is not to push government agenda. Their role is to be arbiters.
Their work was to be good arbiters,
right,
to regulate debate, and to protect the independence of the institution.
How would they do that if they were former party members and if they got those positions as part of an agreement for bringing votes to this administration? How would they be neutral?
It behoves upon a speaker when he assumes that position. Justin Bidan Muturi was nominated by TNA to be speaker in 2013 and Jubilee in 2017. But that man had an impeccable record. You never saw him in a public rally doing empowerment and singing praise and worship to President Uhuru Kenyatta. Justin Muturi regulated debate and allowed everybody to speak. I'm sorry, Speaker Wetangula has become a youth winger for President Ruto. He attends empowerment meetings. He goes to sing praises to William Ruto in public meetings. Tell me a single day you saw Justin Muturi in a public rally supporting Uhuru Kenyatta or campaigning for him. What dignity spells out is that once you get the position of speaker, because you must come from somewhere, you can't come from the moon, you can't come from the air, you must come from somewhere. So when a political party nominates you and you are elected as speaker, once you have assumed that position as the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Senate, you now rise above, partisan politics and become the arbiter of that house, unregulated, undignified. You know, I have seen Wetangula allowing me to be discussed in Parliament because William Ruto has made Kenya, you know, State House is a crime scene. Others came. In fact, there is an MP from the coast, a friend of mine, a great friend of mine. He came and showed me the messages William Ruto had sent him, threatening him to jail him if he doesn't sign for me. And he came and said, I have children, my brother, I am crying as I do this, but I have been forced. These are the messages. Another MP from South Rift, a good friend of mine, came and showed me the messages of threats and intimidation from William Ruto. In fact, Okia Omtata, that guy is a great man. When I sent word to him, appealing not to participate in impeaching me, he said, I cannot impeach you. And the person I had sent, he asked, did he send you with a counter offer? He said, no. He said, I will not impeach him. Had he sent you with a counter offer, I would have impeached him because I don't like corruption. You know, what has happened is that William Ruto introduced money in Parliament. Of late, he has shifted focus to ODM and Raila Odinga. And he is spending a lot of his money now with ODM MPs. Now the MPs from Kenya Kwanza are feeling abandoned. And the money is not flowing as much as it was flowing. So they have decided to look for the money from other people. So when the ministers come, put the money here. When PSs come, put the money here. William Ruto, you started it all. Don't complain. This is your baby. You are the one who introduced high-level corruption in the National Assembly and in the Senate. You cannot turn around and condemn what you have started yourself. You are the one who told these MPs that every man and woman has a price. I heard him say it in his presence, that every man and woman has a price. So what has happened, Yvonne, like the MPs from my backyard are in trouble. They cannot address any meeting unless they pay people. You know, this deputy president, he cannot address any meeting unless he puts people in a tent and gives them money. Now, William Ruto is not giving these MPs money anymore. They need to go to the ground and talk to people and they don't have money. So what do you expect them to do? Anytime a PS is called for a committee, they say you must give us money. Anytime the minister is called, give us money. So the ministers and PSs have gone to cry to the president. We are unable to do any work now in Parliament because anytime we go, there's too much extortion. What do we do? That is why the president was creating hell, because the ministers are going to him to tell him we are unable to transact in Parliament because everybody is demanding money. But he is the one who started it. He is the one who introduced money as the method of transaction in the National Assembly and the Senate.
Do you think high-level corruption is an issue in the country?
It's a big issue. It's our biggest issue. In fact, when you took a break, people are sending me messages asking, what is this Yvonne is asking you? Ask her, we want to discuss about corruption. Because this is what is ailing our country. And I can tell you, Yvonne, State House has become a crime scene. Last 2 weeks ago, 15,000 young people were there. They were each given 2,000 as a bribe so that they can say 2-term. Corruption is being practiced in the highest office in the land in broad daylight. The deputy president is carrying money with sacks, bribing women, bribing young people to say 2-term. And then the president is here pretending that he can fight corruption. Where does he start? When he was talking in that meeting, after the meeting, he gave those MPs each 100,000. After complaining that they're asking for money and he doesn't want corruption, why was he giving them 100,000? Those MPs have salaries. Why was he giving him money? So what I'm saying is, and Yvonne, when we get to the right discussion, we must discuss where we are as a country. It's because against the advice of Uhuru Kenyatta and many people that we are going to elect William Ruto and he's a corrupt man, and we will cry. We are crying. And I myself take blame because I ignored it. I thought it's propaganda. And corruption has become a way of life. Corruption is the modus operandi in our administration, and State House is a crime scene, and bribery is a major policy of this administration to make NHIF more responsive, to make it more efficient, to serve the people of Kenya. William Ruto put a team of advisors at State House who are working parallel from the ministers. And they came up with this thing called SHA. Yeah? And they said NHIF is bad, there was a lot of fraud, we must reform it and we must change it completely. And this thing was brought and we started interrogating it. Along the way, I started getting feelers that this thing was a scheme to rip off the people of Kenya. Yeah? And they proposed that we create a new system that will cost 104 billion Kenya shillings. And I asked William Ruto, my brother, if the board of NHIF is saying they can reform this system at 800 million, why do we need a new system costing about 104 billion? He said, no, we will do it this way. This thing was forced. That's why you had an MP say, we pass SHA for you. This thing was pushed by William Ruto. This 104 billion, Yvonne, is pure theft of public funds. It's the biggest rip-off in the history of the independent Kenya. You know, this system does not exceed 1 billion shillings. 103 billion shillings had been stolen by William Ruto and company. You know, and that is why it is him, because you had the MP saying, we passed you a SHA. Okay? And that is why he was saying when he was in Sagana, explaining why we deferred. Oh, did you ever hear Riggy deferred the health system? Did you ever hear him defer the education system? Did you ever hear him talking about the housing program? I told him, give me a break. I cannot defend corruption. I said, Mr. President, excuse me, forgive me. I could not help you to defend SHA. This is outright theft of public funds. Now, after stealing 104 billion shillings from Duale and company now, the little money people have been deducted from their salaries, the little money that people are paying for SHA, this money they are sending to non-existent hospitals and stealing it. This is the money that William Ruto is using to bribe people in State House. Where do you think this money is coming from? I heard him asking the governor of Mandera, not governor of Mandera. He was saying there is a governor who has paid 150 million. Where did he get it from? I want to pose you the question, Mr. William Ruto. This money you are bribing people. This one you have given Saparano to bribe people. Where are you getting it from? This is money for SHA. Now Aden Duale is telling us, an abusing journalist, Yvonne, that we have shut down the hospitals. How do you shut down hospitals that do not exist? Please, these people, the impunity, the kind of contempt they have for the people of Kenya. A minister telling the people of Kenya, they have discovered that money is being paid to non-existent hospitals, ghost hospitals. And his reply is that, no, we have shut down those hospitals. Where is the money? What measures has he announced today? If these hospitals were non-existent, if these hospitals were not compliant, and they have been shut because they are not compliant, has he announced how we shall recover this money? I would have expected William Ruto, the new champion of fighting corruption in Kenya, to talk about this. Instead, he's only talking about 10 million, and he's complaining it has not reached the MPs who are his friends. That is his only concern, that 10 billion was bribed, it did not reach MPs. William Ruto, why are you not speaking about this 10 billion? By today, in a country of the rule of law, Duale should be at home. You know?
What
and
for?
We are saying,
what for?
He should have been sacked. This is a scandal of unknown magnitude. You have seen today the website for SHA, where the records were, showing who has been paid, has been stepped down, so that you people do not interrogate these hospitals. Because what would have happened, you people are very imaginative. With the list they are showing who has been paid, you would have sent your correspondents all over the country to see whether the hospitals exist. And because they don't exist, that is why they have removed those details from the website, so that Kenyans do not interrogate, they do not audit the theft of public funds. And they came up with this thing called SHA. And they said NHIF is bad, there was a lot of fraud, we must reform it and we must change it completely. And this thing was brought and we started interrogating it. Along the way, I started getting fears that this thing was a scheme to rip off the people of Kenya. Yeah? And they proposed that we create a new system that will cost 104 billion Kenya shillings. And I asked William Ruto, my brother, if the board of NHIF is saying they can reform this system at 800 million, why do we need a new system costing about 104 billion? He said, no, we will do it this way. This thing was forced. That's why you had an MP say, we pass SHA for you. This thing was pushed by William Ruto. This 104 billion, Yvonne, is pure theft of public funds. It's the biggest rip-off in the history of the independent Kenya. You know, this system does not exceed 1 billion shillings. 103 billion shillings had been stolen by William Ruto and company. You know, and that is why it is him, because you had the MP saying, we passed you a SHA. Okay? And that is why he was saying when he was in Sagana, explaining why we deferred. Oh, did you ever hear Riggy deferred the health system? Did you ever hear him defer the education system? Did you ever hear him talking about the housing program? I told him, give me a break. I cannot defend corruption. I said, Mr. President, excuse me, forgive me. I could not help you to defend SHA. This is outright theft of public funds. Now, after stealing 104 billion shillings from Duale and company now, the little money people have been deducted from their salaries, the little money that people are paying for SHA, this money they are sending to non-existent hospitals and stealing it. And this is the money that is doing empowerment programs by Mr. Soprano. This is the money that William Ruto is using to bribe people in State House. Where do you think this money is coming from? I heard him asking the governor of Mandera, not governor of Mandera. He was saying there is a governor who has paid 150 million. Where did he get it from? I want to pose you the question, Mr. William Ruto. This money you are bribing people. This one you have given Soprano to bribe people. Where are you getting it from? This is money for SHA. Now Aden Duale is telling us, and abusing journalists, Yvonne, that we have shut down the hospitals. How do you shut down hospitals that do not exist? Please, these people, the impunity, the kind of contempt they have for the people of Kenya. A minister telling the people of Kenya they have discovered that money is being paid to non-existent hospitals, ghost hospitals. And his reply is that, no, we have shut down those hospitals. Where is the money? What measures has he announced today? If these hospitals were non-existent, if these hospitals were not compliant, and they have been shut because they are not compliant, has he announced how we shall recover this money? I would have expected William Ruto, the new champion of fighting corruption in Kenya, to talk about this. Instead, he's only talking about 10 million, and he's complaining it has not reached the MPs who are his friends. That is his only concern, that 10 billion was bribed, it did not reach MPs. William Ruto, why are you not speaking about this 10 billion? By today, in a country of the rule of law, Duale should be at home. You know?
What
and
for?
We are saying,
what for?
He should have been sacked. This is a scandal of unknown magnitude. You have seen today the website for SHA, where the records were, showing who has been paid, has been stepped down, so that you people do not interrogate these hospitals. Because what would have happened? You people are very imaginative. With the list they are showing who has been paid, you would have sent your correspondents all over the country to see whether the hospitals exist. And because they don't exist, that is why they have removed, those details from the website, so that Kenyans do not interrogate, they do not audit the theft of public funds.
And then there is also the affordable housing, again, something else that you touted. In fact, you were on record as telling everybody that this is something that you should pay up What changed along the way?
Initially, when I supported this program.
Yes.
You know, William Ruto is very convincing. He's a very convincing guy. And he's very deceptive. Extremely deceptive. He had convinced all of us that this housing program, affordable, was a good thing for Kenya. That it will create employment for our young people. That this program, we need slum upgrading. We need to dignify our people. Blah blah blah. It sounded very nice. Only to realize later, it's nonsense.
At what point did you make this realization?
After one year. It's when I started seeing what's going on. To start with, when he forced people now to have the housing levy. Because the question people were asking me, and I went and asked him.
What was the idea for you in your mind with this?
Initially, we thought it's a genuine thing. Only to realize that it's about business. That William Ruto has seen a business opportunity to sell cement, to sell steel, and to sell iron sheets. Again, to partner with developers to make money. And for that program to succeed, it needed a source of money. So he had to create a housing levy so that the money is flowing. And this money has been put in Sidan Bank, a bank that he bought immediately we came into office. Okay? Sidan Bank is level 3, is tier 3. According to the central bank regulations, all money belonging to parastatals and governments must be put in Tier 1. Tier 1 is Cooperative Bank, Equity, Barclays, those big banks. But he told central bank to allow Sidan to receive money from SHA and also money from housing. So that bank has grown, from a profit of 300 million in 1 year to 1.2 billion. Framers of the 2010 Constitution are very wise. Why did they want a president and a deputy elected? So that they can check each other. That's what I was doing. I was checking from inside until a point he couldn't stand it. And he decided to get rid of me. I went to cabinet and opposed the finance bill of 2024. I did.
2023?
2024.
Okay.
I said no. And it was put on record. And he was mad with me. And I went in public meetings asking the MPs to listen to the ground. It was a way of checking. Because when you are deputy president and there is a finance bill, and when people ask me, what do you think about this finance bill? I say, listen to the ground. The people did not want it. I told the MPs, listen to the ground. And the president was mad with me. Finally, when it came to cabinet, I went and opposed the demolitions and evictions of Nairobi River. If you remember, it was one of the charges in the Senate against me. I opposed when I was deputy president. I did not oppose when I left office, Yvonne. I opposed when I was in office. And it was a charge of insubordinating the president because of saying no. Our manifesto was clear that we shall never carry out demolitions and evictions until we have settled the people.
Okay.
When the Gen Z protests came, Yvonne, I want to put it on record so that we are speaking from the same page. I opposed abductions and killings. And when the president insisted, and our kids were shot and killed on June 25th, 2024, on the 26th of June, as deputy president, I called a press conference in Mombasa and castigated President William Ruto and the Director of National Intelligence Service for abductions and extrajudicial killings. I am not doing it because I'm outside, Yvonne. I was doing it from inside. And that is why the president now could not stand it anymore. In fact, it's after my press conference on June 26th is when he made a decision he must get rid of me. And it took him about 4 months. He started putting things into motion. And I told the president, I think it was on June 22nd, when I saw the operation order, what had been planned, the killings, the abductions, I went and I said, Mr. President, I am a parent, you are a parent. I have 2 young boys, you have young children. How can we kill these people simply because they are saying the finance bill is not acceptable? Why can't we listen to them? He said, my friend, you are in government, you do what we are saying. So the subsequent meeting for National Security Council, I was not invited because I would have opposed the operation. So when it happened, on June 25th, the president called a press conference at night. He did not invite me, and he said this was treasonous. These are criminals. They'll pay for it. I was mad because I knew these children were innocent and they were simply clamoring for their rights and the rights of the people of Kenya. And what happened, Yvonne, is that nature abhors vacuum. The minute the president captured parliament, the minute he compromised Raila Odinga, there was nobody else to speak for the people of Kenya. And since nature abhors vacuum, the Gen Z just came up, because that's the way nature operates, and they started speaking for the people of Kenya. So I made a decision. I flew to Mombasa. I called a press conference, and that marked the end of the relation between me and President William Ruto. We never spoke again. We just pretend we are speaking, but we never met one-to-one. We never spoke on telephone. We were speaking on messages until the day I left office. So you cannot say, Yvonne, that I spoke because I left. I started speaking. For 1 year, I was speaking from inside. And that's why he was accusing me. You know, he was telling me to defend Adani. I told him I will not. He says, go to the TV stations and defend the university model. I said, I will not. Because the thing is not good. You know, I was in a funeral in Kitale. And the Senator for Kisii, Richard Oyonka, really attacked the government because of Adani. And I spoke last. I did not say anything. I talked about other things. I left. And the president's PA called me all manner of names. Wewe ni mujinga sana, you are very stupid. You are deputy president, you spoke last. Somebody has attacked the government and you cannot defend. What kind of a deputy are you? I said, my friend, tell the president to call me and tell him I cannot defend corruption. Adani is corruption, I will not defend. Then he said, utatuona. The rest is history. Yvonne, I am a credible man, I'm a man of honor. And I was prepared to face the consequences of standing with what is right and what is true. You know, and I was flabbergasted as to how foolish William Ruto think the people of Kenya are. Katiba Day, he has violated the Constitution from the first chapter to the last one. Freedoms in the Bill of Rights have been taken away from the people of Kenya. These young people who were abducted, they were within their constitutional right to question government. Yet, and I've said many times, when the Gen Z started becoming very vocal, the president authorized the formation of a killer squad of 101 officers from the administration police who were seconded to the National Intelligence Service and given very high-skilled training in abductions, killings, and cover-up. And that is a squad that has caused havoc in this country. And it works under the National Intelligence Service. It was authorized by William Ruto. That is a squad that is responsible for gross violation of human rights. And what is sad, Yvonne, and this matter was raised with me in America, and I heard Akina Wetangula saying I went to talk bad about my country. I never talked bad about my country. I love my country. Kenya is a great country, and I told the people in America as much. But we have poor leadership. We have bad leaders. What is shocking, Yvonne, is after all this, a president who is elected by the people, a country with a constitution, a country that has a very strong Bill of Rights, can publicly issue orders for people to be shot in the leg and then taken to the hospital on their way to jail. It's a level of impunity. And I'm very happy that in the bill in the Senate in America, that issue has been raised. Abductions and extrajudicial killings. Yeah? So what is happening again when we had the last protest and Sabasaba? The state took over the protest and sent criminal goons to beat people, burn and touch property, and stage manage attack of police stations and courts. It was done by police. And then arrested innocent young people and charged them with terrorism. You know, that court in Kahawa is a specialized court to deal with terrorism, a very serious crime that needs to protect our territorial integrity and make sure that the country is safe. But to make sure that these young people are intimidated and they have no voice, and they will never again hold the government to account, they are charged with the terrorism. So as we speak, we are at the lowest in terms of violation of human rights, and that's where the Americans are having a great problem with us. And we have never reached where we are, and the situation is coming from bad to us, and it is laughable that the president, ahead of his address to the United Nations, he's going there to the United Nations General Assembly. He is trying to appease the international community because there is a lot of concern about extrajudicial killings and abductions. He is trying to hoodwink the international community by ordering Professor Makau Mutua to set up a team to compensate victims of extrajudicial killings. It is good. I think we accept it's good to compensate people. But that should be the tail end. Yeah? We welcome compensation. But let's be decent. Let's not try to hoodwink the international community. Before you compensate victims, you must first accept that there were extrajudicial killings. The president should call a press conference and say, hey, my fellow Kenyans, I accept that there were extrajudicial killings and abductions, and this is wrong, and I apologize to the people of Kenya, and I say pole to the families and the people of Kenya. Number two, I have ordered the disbandment of the killer squad of 101 officers who have been abducting young children and killing Kenyans. Number three, I give an undertaking to the people of Kenya that under my presidency, never again shall we have abductions and extrajudicial killings. Number four, all those officers responsible for killing our young people and abducting them will be prosecuted. Finally, sad as it is, I accept that parents have suffered and they require some compensation. I therefore order a mechanism be put in place to compensate those families. And Yvonne, government cannot compensate people it has killed. We must give it to another neutral body, like the Kenya National Human Rights Commission. Because what is happening is we have a petition before the ICC. If government identifies these victims, then we will not have witness protection. These victims will not be able to give evidence against William Ruto and the government. So this is a scheme to get to know who are the possible and potential witnesses for cases of crimes against humanity that we are taking to The Hague. So we are saying, if William Ruto is genuine, he must do what I've told you. He must first call a press conference and own up to the killings and the abductions.
All right, before
Two, Yvonne, he must disband that killer squad that has been doing it.
Okay.
And then he must de-gazette that team, pass this responsibility and the funds to the Kenya National Human Rights Commission, which is neutral. Because how do you get people who killed your child are the same people who are coming to compensate you? Even in terms of the way you relate. You know, the same person who shot your child is the one saying, oh, Mama, I'm sorry we killed your son. Yeah? Here is 100,000 to compensate you. How does it work? Let us have an independent body, the Kenya National Human Rights Commission, to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. And I think when Kipchumba Murkomen threatened to arrest me, my supporters decided to come to the airport to make sure that I'm safe. It was a family affair. Of course, the government organized to attack me, and those were policemen in civilian, accompanied with goons. They actually wanted to kill me at Pipeline. They took a big boulder and dropped it on my car. You know, I escaped death by a whisker, and I think they wanted to kill me. And what Murkomen should know, that if he had killed me, there will be no country. There will be a civil war. And I don't know whether they know what they are playing around with. This country, where it has reached, people should not have such jokes. Those are jokes that are not good. We have a country. we have a country, Yvonne. And myself, what I did, we were supposed to go through Jogoo Road all the way and greet people in the Kamukonji.
Yes.
Me, I'm a very responsible leader. When I assessed the situation, and I realized that a lot of force had been mobilized, policemen in civilians with guns, accompanied by goons with knives and pangas and rocks, and a civilian aircraft with policemen was hovering in the air and coordinating with the civilian officers on the ground, giving them our movement. Like I wanted to pass through express highway. The police blocked me so that I go to where the trap had been set. When I analyzed the situation, I said, let's cancel going to Jogoo, because I don't want people to die in my name. I don't want women to be hurt. Even journalists, your colleagues, ask them, you were with them there, they were beaten. Their cameras were taken. The money was taken from them. They were threatened with the knives. A lot of violence was meted against us, And it is a threat, by the way. Even I heard the minister say, no, we were not aware of their movement. Yet he was saying 2 days before, we have credible intelligence, there will be violence. Of course, he had credible intelligence, there will be violence because they are the ones who are organizing the violence. He was predicting the same violence that he is organizing. So what I'm saying is, when I was away, they were trying to say when Riggy is out of the country is peaceful. But my team went to Murang'a. They were attacked by police with guns and guns. Again, they went to Gilgil. They were attacked by police and gangs. They went to Subukia. The violence that we have seen against DCP and myself is being carried out by the state. And I must say today, because it's important, I cannot report William Ruto to the police because they are under him. I cannot report the police to themselves. I cannot report Murkomen to the DCI because he is under him. So in the situation that I face with my members, I can only report them to the people of Kenya. Sometimes I hear Ruto saying, go and write a statement. We write a statement to who? How can you go to report William Ruto to the police? How can you go to report Kipchumba Murkomen to the police? You can only, what I can do in my position is just tell the people of Kenya what is happening. William Ruto is saying shoot in the leg. They are just pretending that they are independent. They are not. That guy called Douglas Kaja, he is from my home. And I told him the other day, you are a potential customer of ICC. Remember what happened to General Ali. William Ruto and Kipchumba Murkomen will use you. What is happening? I told him, Kaja, he's from my village. One of these days, you'll be in ICC. I want to tell these county commanders in Nairobi and elsewhere that we have set up a team to document all these violent activities. We have, like now what happened in Nairobi, we have documented it. The county commander, Nairobi, the sub-county commander, Embakasi, when we form government, they'll have to answer. Because why are they allowing police and goons to attack people? The county commander, Murang'a, the sub-county commander, Kegumo, the sub-county commander, Gilgil, Subukia, we are documenting all these excesses. When this administration goes, and it will go, I want to assure you, there's a new administration. You will be held to account. So, and what happened in Central Police Station is a living example and testimony. The DIG Langat told people to torture Albert Ojwang. DIG has been absolved from blame. He's going back to work this week. The OCS, Central Police Station, the sergeant on duty, the corporal on duty are facing murder charges. I want to use this opportunity tonight to talk to our police officers. I want to talk to you as a father, as a leader in this country. Please stop being misused by William Ruto and Murkomen to do a lot of things because you'll answer. I want to ask our policemen to always be guided by 4 documents in the pursuit, in the course of their duty. The Constitution of Kenya 2010, the Penal Code, Chapter 6.3, the Criminal Procedure Code, Cap 7.5, and the Evidence Act, Cap 8.0. With those 4 documents, you can hold your ground And even if your senior tells you to do something that is not covered by those 4 documents, you can stand your ground.
Okay.
But I want to say, if the government has decided to stop the one-term movement, they want to assassinate Riggy Gachagua by using police in civilians and then blame it on goons, because I can see the pattern. What they have done, Yvonne, if you allow me, I have been attacked now 7 times. In November 2024, I was attacked by goons covered by police in Limuru. Up to today, nobody has ever been arrested. On 28th December, I was attacked by a police officer in Shamata. Nobody has ever been arrested. On 6th April, I was attacked by goons and police in Mweki, inside a PCA church. Nobody has ever been arrested. You know? Another day, I was attacked somewhere else. Now, I was attacked at the airport. What I can see, I was analyzing here with security experts yesterday, is that the government want to set up a trend where that Riggy Gachagua is always attacked by goons, so that one day, police in civilian can shoot him dead, and then say it's the goons, and then order an investigation to arrest the goons when he is dead. What I want to tell them is, and I want to be very cautious, I want to say, it's important I say, because I have seen the trend of what is happening. I want to tell William Ruto and Kipchumba Murkomen, please, don't ban this country. This is our country, we have no other.
Okay.
Let us be careful. Don't do stupid things.
Okay.
Yeah? Thinking that you are stopping the one-term movement, yeah, and create some more in this country. Please don't. The MP for Sirisia was convicted and jailed for 74 years. Okay? Before the elections. Okay? He filed an appeal before the High Court. When the elections came, the law is very clear that the Constitution guarantees your right to vie for elective office, even if you have been convicted, if you have not exhausted the remedies available in law. Okay? Riggy Gachagua has a matter before the High Court. It has not even been heard. It needs to go to the High Court, Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court, until the Supreme Court says Riggy Gachagua was impeached properly. And the Supreme Court opposed my impeachment, then I cannot run.
Okay.
It has not. The High Court has not. The Court of Appeal has not. Until that has happened, Riggy Gachagua remains free to vie for office. And I don't want to discuss matters before court, but even the judges will take judicial notice of what is going on and how this guy called Riggy was impeached. The law is very good. It gives somebody enough remedies so that you get fairness. Fairness,
okay.
Let me tell you what they say in law. They say it is okay for a guilty person to be freed, but it's unacceptable for an innocent man to be jailed.